Hoping not to follow in his father's footsteps, here's your look at the Diamond Select, the Netflix Castlevania Alucard, the collector's action figure. Alucard, son of Dracula, woken from his long slumber when he's needed most, he finds himself drawn into a battle for the survival of Europe, a region that has brought doom upon itself by taking away the one thing its greatest monster loved. This action figure of Alucard is based on his appearance in the TV series Castlevania on Netflix. It features approximately 16 points of articulation and includes multiple accessories. Before sinking our teeth, here all night, into the review here of Alucard, the first thing we're going to do is figure out how tall the figure stands. While I am calculating those out to you, members of the mob, I'd also like to send a thank you to the folks over at Diamond Select who made this review possible. If you guys are in the market to pick up Alucard for yourself or some of the other Diamond Select Castlevania figures that we've looked at over the course of 3 videos, I know we've only 2 videos in so far, you should be able to now find them through various online sites until eventually that time comes when comic book stores swing open the proverbial door again and allow their customers to come in and pillage their shelves. Online stores are your best bet right now. According to my tape measure, though, the figure of Alucard stands 7.3 inches in height. Centimeters, though, if you're looking to pick your figure up and want to know in centimeters, well, let me oblige that with saying it's 18.6. So it's a little over 18 centimeters, 18 and a half centimeters tall. Just for some size comparisons, because you know I'm all about size comparisons, we'll move over Alucard for the time being and bring in the previously looked at, there he is right there, Trevor Belmont. The figures aren't the exact same. You can clearly see that Alucard is much more taller and lankier than the previously looked at Trevor Belmont. And that is again the calling card for Diamond Select releases. The fact that they aren't using the exact same mold across the board. While companies always say we have to increase our costs because quite simply we have to be tooling brand new figures. We can't use the same ones over and over and over again, though some companies do. Diamond Select continues to release their figures all with unique molds. And the price point on these, again, is still less than some of the other companies that are churning out the same figures time and time and time again, utilizing the exact same molds. I mean, here the figures themselves are looking quite good. Difference in size, yes. Different in height, yes. And different builds altogether. It makes the figures very unique to one another. And you're not simply having to rub your eyes looking at them side by side thinking that they're using the exact same molds when clearly that isn't the case. One thing, though, that Alucard and Trevor share the same in is the level of accessories that come included with the figure. Alucard comes with just as many as when we looked at Trevor. We'll have a look at those right now. The first thing we'll have a look at is Alucard's slender sword, and while I don't have the abilities to draw the sword in midair, I can certainly draw it out from the supplied sheath. The sheath itself is all done in black plastic with a little bit of silver done on the edge and silver done on the opening, in which, of course, the thinner sword slides inside of. Nice detailing done, actually, on the hilt. Let me just spin it around so you guys can see on both sides. Very subtle in its detailing, but very nicely painted as well in silver. And unlike the broadsword that came included with Trevor, I have no problems whatsoever drawing this on a ready quite easily out from the hilt. Like I said, that comes included with Alucard. Now, it doesn't have any place that I can see that attaches to the figure. I thought there would have been some holes or something onto the side that you could attach to, for example. But, I mean, based on its angle anyways, it would have to have attached like this. And there's no peg hole, accompanying peg hole that you can attach that in place. So, kind of like in the same way that Trevor had swords, but he doesn't really have the means to actually hold them, or at least display them on the figure. Alucard's kind of in that same boat. Not talking about boats, certainly, but a really nice flame sword. He comes included with this as well. If you look at the two, I mean, very different pieces to one another. The coloring on the hilt is different. And certainly translucency of blue plastic is incorporated for this sword. This sword doesn't actually have it. I really like this one quite a bit. And I just love the fact that you can see. I mean, you could, I guess, run a light source behind it have this close up to a lamp, for example, so the light can peer through the plastic. It's nicely sculpted in the way that the sword is. It does add a little bit of extra weight, so when you are holding it, for example, in his hands, the sword seems at times to want to sway a little bit. I'll talk about that in a second as well. Alucard also comes with an interchangeable head sculpt. You know what, I feel awkward putting him so far off to the side. Alucard also comes with an alternate head portrait. This one actually does have some teeth drawn. You can see there. Drawn is maybe not the best word. It certainly is drawn on his mouth, but painted in there. You can see it's on the corners of his mouth. There's a little indication of vampire fangs on both sides. I don't know really which one I would actually display him with. I mean, if we look at the two figures side by side, they're both looking decent looking head sculpts. I feel actually even like the pupils are a little bit darker on the alternate head sculpt than the one that comes defaulted. I feel more inclined to almost kind of display him with this one because it's just more of a very neutral expression, but I like the fact that you do get two head sculpts and two different means to swap and change out the character's design. Then, like Trevor, he comes with a lot of hands. A lot of hands. He comes with a total of 12 interchangeable hands. Currently in the sockets, just showing you quickly right now, he does have a pair of closed fists. I decided just to display him with that. Now, I know. It's not the most exciting. No, it's not. He does also come with, like I said, a whole total of 12 hands. A couple of relaxed hands, for example. These are slightly more arched back, bent further back a little bit. You can have those hands upright, for example. Then he does come with a pair of relaxed hands. These ones are actually more so showing kind of like he's got sharp claws scratching his way into the surfaces. Then he does also have, going back to what I said, relaxed hands is suitable for displaying alongside, like if you just want to have his arms draped. Closed fists seem so aggressive. You can certainly go more relaxed hands as well. Then he comes with hands for holding the swords. And he comes with two variations of these hands. If you look at the hands, for example, I'm just going to draw two of these for the time being. He comes with this hand and he comes with this hand here. Now, I'd be hard-pressed to really say what is too different about these, that they simply couldn't have just packed one pair of fists in the hands or one pair of fists in the packaging and certainly called it a day. I mean, if we take, I don't know, of the two, this one seems like it's a slightly smaller grip. I mean, no matter what hands you decide to go with, it holds the flame sword perfectly fine. It's not going anywhere. And also, if you draw the regular silver broadsword or slender sword, it does fit into his hand also as well. Like, it doesn't have any issues whatsoever. He really doesn't need necessarily extra hands on top of that. But again, if you are looking to display your figure with the sword, whether it be the flame sword, whether it be the regular slender sword, we can go ahead and just pop the hands off either way. Replace it with whatever hand you decide to go with. You'll notice a very long, slender peg, and that slides just... I find it's actually easy when you are putting it in place, just to kind of twist it as you're navigating it back into the socket. And then from there, you can go ahead and take either the flame sword. There we go. As you can see, I did mention this earlier. The weight of the sword, this one specifically, does have it shifting a little bit when you've got it in the hands, for example. The slender sword isn't so much the issue. But either way, though, like I said, he does come with a total of 12 hands. That's a lot of hands. I don't feel he needs that many hands, but he does come with a total of 12 hands. Again, going back to the alternate head sculpts, the hair, if you look at the two side by side, seems like the head sculpts, with hair at least, are identical to one another. Let me just flip it around so you can see the back. I mean, it looks like it's just a different face sculpt, which would make logical sense. I certainly don't expect Diamond Select from scratch to tool brand new hair pieces as well, when one hair looks just as fine as it is, and you're just only having to switch out the face plates. I'm perfectly fine with that. But if you want to change out the head sculpts, we're just going to pop the head off the ball joint. Trevor actually didn't have this, and we'll just pop that off. We'll replace it with the fanged face. There we go. A little harder sometimes to get it onto the ball joint, but that's what it looks like. And again, entirely your prerogative as to which way you want to display the figure. I like this one personally myself, but there's something to be said for a vampire at least sporting some choppers, and there they are right there in his mouth. nice looking head sculpts overall. The pale skin of course, Alucard is accepted. I certainly love the fact that they went a very pale look like he appears in the show. And he's got those really eerily yellow eyes. Not quite as light the yellow as perhaps his hair, but he has more like a honey yellow for his irises with very dark pointed pupils right in the center there. The additional outlining around the eyes certainly allows those eyes to stand out a little bit, because obviously if they went with the lighter skin color, which they obviously did, and then you just painted the eyes over top of it, I feel like those eyes would be so quickly lost. So outlining those eyes was a nice touch. Even from a distance, you can really see those eyes standing out. As the rest of his outfit, this particular Alucard isn't shirtless. Seems always be the case he is shirtless, but he does have a V-neck shirt underneath. He's got a pair of long slacks, which almost seem to have a bit of a metallicness to the way that they painted it. It's not quite fully black. It's not quite fully blue. It's sort of a mix in between the two. And it has just a slight bit of glitter, it seems. Maybe my eyes are playing tricks on me. He is a very lanky, skinny-looking figure. It helps also that he does have his long tailored jacket, which has the gold trimming around the collar, along the top there, and down banded along the front section here with the buttons on both sides. He's also got that also on his glove. It's nice with the additional metallic gold. I suppose they could have gone more of a matte gold, but metallic gold definitely is the way to go. It's generally quite clean too. There's a few little issues where maybe paint isn't fully finished on the collar, but other than that, it's just really nice presented figure. There's the back of the jacket right there. It's got a little bit of soft give to it. I mean, at least in the sense of splitting the character's legs, which we'll talk about articulation for a second. I don't have any issues like really moving his legs out. They kind of, in a way, end up cupping inside the tails of his jacket, but moving the legs certainly isn't an issue whatsoever. I kind of wish the printing for where it was produced, made in China, and the date of it would have been further moved up. Sometimes you can kind of see it around hiding behind, like hide and go seek. Hey, I found you. You're right there. Hiding kind of just on the side of the leg. Kind of wish it was a little bit higher up, but that's just a little small point. For this guy's articulation, whatever head you decide to go with, his head has a full range of motion via the ball joints. Again, whatever head you decide to go with. He has an upper torso ball joint. A little more limited, sure, because he's got, of course, the jacket over top of it. The arms hinge out at about a 90-degree angle. No restrictions there. Though, kind of like Trevor, when you are rotating the arms, they start at a straight point, and as you're rotating them, hitting them to the shape of the shoulders there, the arms naturally want to draw themselves out, just kind of getting away, out of danger, out of harm's way. You swivel at the bicep. He's got a bend at the elbow. In a way, I kind of wish that the elbow bend was greater than what it is. The hinge joint is there, sure, to bend the elbow, but because it's not long enough, you can only get to about there on the arms. That's the case on both arms. If they could have only made the hinge just a little bit longer, I'm not expecting certainly a double joint at all, but even if that bicep was just a little higher up, I know you would lose a little on the sculpting, but it certainly would allow the arm to bend a little bit more than what it currently does. And that's about a 45, give or take a 45-degree angle. That same bend also allows the forearm to rotate back and forth, and you can rotate those hands all the way around with a hinge back and forth that way. Looking at the figure's legs, we sort of started it and abruptly just dropped the topic. We can go back to that right now. The legs split out. Back it completely out of the way, then you could get a full splits happening, so that's good. The legs go forward, the legs go back. He has a swivel on the 3/4 cut of the thigh, double hinge on the knee. He has articulation in the boots, and when it comes to his foot articulation, not only do the feet hinge up and down, but he does also have ankle rockers. I know that's a big thing for people, certainly when it comes to displaying their figures. I like ankle rocking figures as well, because when it comes to posing the figures, you can do a little bit more for them when they do have that ankle pivot working in their favor. I like the design of Alucard, really. I'm still asking the question why he needs so many hands. Gestured hands, sure, makes sense. Clawing hands, why not? But I don't know why he would have actually needed two pairs, because he already has one pair. Why he had two pairs of gripping, holding hands. It didn't seem like one pair held the swords any differently than the other. But other than that, I'm just really happy with how this figure turned out. We have Son of Dracula hopefully Father Dracula is right around the corner. That certainly is a figure I'm really looking forward to seeing. Sure, his dad is Dracula, and that's gotta suck, but still a dapper-looking Alucard from the folks over at Diamond Select. This one looks like it was pulled from its Netflix series counterpart, pale in skin with a nice interchangeable head sculpt. So if you want the more fantastic face sculpt, boy, a lot of puns, vampire puns in this one, you can certainly pull that off by swapping the head sculpts off the very easy to manage ball joint at the top of his neck. This one again looks like his Netflix counterpart. I like that this one has the long tailored jacket. I wonder if we are going to be getting a shirtless version of Alucard, because it seems to happen a lot. He does have additional accessories, the two different variations of a sword, one flame sword, one the sword we're seeing here in final looks, as well as a sheath that you can display it inside. Still, there's no place like Trevor that you can actually house the sheath onto the figure's body. So I've sort of just got it looking like he's drawn it out from the sheath, and I guess he's just going to, I don't know what he's going to do with the sheath now. I guess he's just going to put it on the ground. He does also have interchangeable hands. 12 interchangeable hands. That's a lot of interchangeable hands. Sure, some are gestured hands, some are clawing hands, but then you've got gripping accessory holding hands. And it seems while Trevor didn't get anything, Alucard's got it in spades. He's got 2 sets of gripping hands. I don't think it's necessary personally. They probably could have trimmed it back a slight bit, or maybe given those other gripping hands to Trevor, which unfortunately that figure, like I said, didn't have it included. Still, he's a nice looking release of Alucard. I wonder if we are going to be getting a shirtless version of Alucard in the immediate future. But in the meantime, I'm holding out high hopes, and I'm looking forward to seeing what Diamond's going to do with Dracula. Liked him so much in this series, and I know we're talking about his son here instead. I'm really looking forward to seeing Dracula make his final appearance in 7-inch plastic. Again, if you guys are in the market of picking these ones up for yourself, comic book stores, no dice right now, I'm afraid. I hate to be the bearer of bad news. But still, staying safe the way that we are right now to deal with this social crisis. In the meantime, most definitely, if you are in the market of picking these ones up for yourself, you can pick them up through various different places like online sites. Big Bad Toy Store, for example, Entertainment Earth will carry this. There's also a link down below I provided to you guys over to Amazon. If you guys are in the market of picking them up that way, you can certainly do it by clicking the link down below. A big thank you to the folks over at Diamond Select who provided not only Alucard, but also the other 2 figures that we, one, have already looked at, and one will be looking at in the upcoming review. I know I just sort of gave it away. You guys are smart viewers. If you guys are new to this channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below, turn the bell notification on, and keep those glaring peepers peeled, because there's going to be, of course, the review underway. There's still going to be, we're going to be wrapping up the rest of Castlevania, and far beyond that, there's going to be a whole lot of videos coming your way as well. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you guys next time.